YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here with yet another Washington football team video, and in today's video, we have a lot of news to talk about. Washington football team has been really busy trying to find their next GM, and we also have some Ronald Darby news. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload a video about the NFL, in this case our Washington football team. And don't forget, I just opened up a new email so you guys can send me all your Washington football team comments and questions that you have, so you can be in the weekly Q&A that I do on this channel every single week. Once we receive 10 to 15 questions, I will put out the very first episode where I answer you guys questions weekly. So continue to send your questions, and if you haven't sent your questions, make sure you send them to the email that's on screen and in the description so you can be featured in the episode each and every week. And if your question is not answered in this week's episode, it will get answered in the next week's episode. And share it out to your friends so we can get more people involved and have their questions featured on the show. So with that out the way, let's get straight into today's video. So as we know, Washington is looking to fulfill their vacant GM spot this offseason. And from Ron Rivera's knowledge and prior moves, he's looking to get a guy that he knows, a guy that he can trust. And there's nothing wrong with that. When you're in a business like the NFL, feel more comfortable when you have a guy that you know, you trust, and you have worked with. So what I'm saying is, it's not looking too bright for Kyle Smith. I know us fans, we want Kyle Smith to be the general manager, but Ron Rivera is thinking, why would I give the job to a guy that I don't really know all that well? Yes, I spent the last year with him, but maybe I just don't trust him. So why not go out and get a guy that I want? So that's what I'm thinking Ron Rivera is going to do. He's going to go out and get a guy that he wants and he trusts. With that being said, Washington actually kicked off their GM interviews today as they interviewed Titans Vice President of Player Personnel Ryan Cowden. Now, it's no word on how the interview went, but I'm pretty sure since they have a past relationship together, I'm pretty sure it went smooth and well. I wanted to give you guys some background knowledge on Ryan Cowden. If you guys don't know who that is, he is the Vice President of Player Personnel for the Tennessee Titans as of right now, ever since 2016. But prior to that, like I said, he worked with Ron Rivera in Carolina. Ryan Cowden began his NFL career as a scouting assistant with the Carolina Panthers in 2000. He quickly advanced to an area scout and would end up patrolling the southeast scouting area for the team from 2001 to 2007. Cowden also worked as a national scout / senior college scout, and assistant director of college scouting to round out his time in Carolina. During his time working with the team, the Panthers earned 5 division titles, 6 playoff appearances, and also 2 Super Bowl appearances. That's really good. That's obviously better than anything we've had here in Washington for the past decade or two. And honestly, you can make a case and say since he left Carolina in 2016, they kind of went downhill. When he was there, I just read you guys off the stats, they were always in the playoffs, and they had 2 Super Bowl appearances, and they had a lot of division championships. Ryan Cowden has a good track record, especially with the Carolina Panthers and with Ron Rivera. Ryan Cowden joined the Titans as the Director of Player Personnel in 2016 and advanced to Vice President of Player Personnel in 2018, holding that role ever since. Ryan Cowden has his hands within all of the franchise personnel decisions, working on everything from scouting to the NFL draft to free agency. He helped turn the Tennessee Titans into a consistent contender with playoff berths the last 2 seasons and a trip to the AFC Championship in 2019. So you can make an argument that this guy knows what he's doing. This guy knows how to turn around a franchise. And honestly, his track record is really good. I already read you guys off his Panthers one, and then just reading his Titans one, he carried that success that he had in Carolina to the Tennessee Titans. So people that's going to say, oh, it was just because he was in Carolina, Carolina was a talented team. Not to mention they were talented because of him. I mean, yeah, they were a talented team, but then he went and took over the Tennessee Titans, and ever since the Tennessee Titans, they've been in the AFC Championship last year. They've been consistent contenders, and they've been always in the playoffs. This guy seems to be really good, and the fact that he is a good friend of Ron Rivera's, I would not be surprised if this is the guy they roll with as general manager. I mean, if you look at the guy, he doesn't seem that old. He seems like he knows what he's doing, and he has a really good track record. Lord knows, as Washington fans, we need someone to lead us to greatness, and Ron Rivera has already set the foundation, and finishing it off would be phenomenal with a guy like Ryan Cowden because his track record to turn around franchises are notably good. You guys are wondering how Ryan Cowden would fit with the Washington football team. Cowden has 2 main things he's working for him. The first is over 2 decades in NFL experience, something Ron Rivera is looking for in his general manager, hence why he doesn't want to give Kyle Smith the job right away. He also worked in numerous areas. Clear that Ryan Cowden can handle all parts parts of the job and has a deep understanding of what it takes to build a winning team and culture. As you've seen, Carolina, he built a winning culture. Tennessee, he's building a winning culture. So Ryan Cowden has a direct connection to Rivera. The two worked together from 2011 to 2015, and with Ron Rivera bringing over multiple members of his staff in Carolina, Cowden would have familiarity with Ron Rivera's other personnel people that he brought from Carolina to Washington. Since beginning his work as a national scout in 2008 to his final year in 2015, the Panthers regime featured Cowden as selecting the likes of Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly, Josh Norman, Star Lotulelei, Kawann Short, and also Shaq Thomas. With the Titans, a main part of the Titans' operation since 2016, Cowden and the Tennessee Titans to select Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard, Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith, and A.J. Brown. This guy knows how to draft. He drafted MVP Cam Newton. Not the best running back in the NFL, he's up there, top 3 for sure. He just had 2,000 rush yards. A.J. Brown is a young emerging star. Corey Davis set to make good money this offseason. Also, Jonnu Smith, a solid tight end, a fast tight end, great receiving tight end, great hand. Kevin Byard, one of the league's best safety. Then you go back to the Carolina Panthers, he drafted Luke Kuechly. If it wasn't for injuries, Luke Kuechly would still be playing at a high level right now. Shaq Thomas is also a good linebacker. Star Lotulelei and Kawann Short were good defensive linemen when Carolina was terrorizing the whole NFC, especially that 15-1 season. So this guy's rap sheet and reputation is very, very good. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. If Washington actually lands this guy, I'm going to be pretty excited because after doing his research, I honestly don't see why Washington would want a guy like this on their staff. Now, I understand, guys. All that I said, Kyle Smith is very well capable of doing, and I'm not sure if this guy's eye for talent is just like Kyle Smith as far as getting young studs in the late round. That's one thing that we could possibly be missing with Kyle Smith as far as becoming general manager. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. If this guy becomes general manager, who's to say Kyle Smith isn't going to want to stay there and then continue to do the job that he's doing? But at the same time, if he becomes general manager, then Kyle Smith can be like, hey man, I want to leave. I want to become a GM somewhere else. Like I said in yesterday's video, Ron Rivera is stuck in a rock and a hard place, but I honestly think Ron Rivera, his decision is going to be made easy on his part because he knows where he wants this team to go. He wants this team to go in a direction where he trusts the person that he put in charge of that position. They haven't interviewed, but is set to interview tomorrow is Martin Mayhew, the vice president of player personnel for the San Francisco 49ers, and they've been very good for the past few years. They put their stamp on the NFC last year. Now, I understand this year they weren't that good, but that's because injuries hit. Now, if this team was not injured, let's just be honest, if this team was not injured, they would be at the top of the NFC West. They would be in the playoffs, but they were just hurt. And he has an eye for talent. He drafted Nick Bosa. He got all the player pieces that he needed. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually brought this guy in too because they know him, they worked with him, and they are set to interview him, so obviously there's some interest there. So per John Cowden, inside reporter for the Washington football team, there's no real reason why Kyle Smith is not being a contender for the GM job. Ron Rivera and Dan Snyder both view him highly. However, speculation is Ron Rivera really wants somebody that has experience, and he would prefer someone that has done the job for multiple years and also a guy that he knows. Kyle Smith is 37 years old and very young, and he's still learning the position. I understand where Ron Rivera is coming from, and like I said multiple times in this video and in yesterday's video, he wants a guy that he knows, a guy that he trusts. I understand where Ron Rivera is coming from, hence why he didn't bring in a guy like Kevin O'Connell or keep a guy like Kevin O'Connell from the last regime because he's young, he doesn't really know him. I understand Scott Turner is young too, but he knows Scott Turner. He knows how his offense is ran. He want to bring in a guy that he knows, he trusts, and he loves. That's the reason why Kyle Smith hasn't been talked about in general manager. Now, I don't understand if there's anything else he wants to see out of Kyle Smith before giving him the job, or does he just flat out not want to give him the job? That's going to remain up in the air unless they come out and say something regarding around Kyle Smith. But I'm going to just say this first. If you guys don't make a move as far as Kyle Smith becoming the general manager, or even considering him becoming the general manager, I'm not going to be surprised if he ends up getting some interest somewhere else. Now, like I said, maybe he doesn't want to become a general manager, and maybe we're just looking too far into it, but I guarantee you this. If a general manager job comes knocking on his door, there's no way he turns it down. We have to talk about Ronald Darby. Now, there is growing interest in both sides in Ronald Darby and also the Washington football team reuniting for a long-term deal this offseason. That is still remained up in the air as far as what the contract is going to look like, but both teams want to reunite, and that is great because Ronald Darby had his best year yet as far as his career goes, in my opinion, other than when he first went to Buffalo. Ronald Darby is a Super Bowl champion with the Eagles. He's coming off one of his best years, one of his healthiest years, where he led the league in pass deflections. Ronald Darby got beat sometimes, but we know he's not a man-up corner. He's not a fast corner, so that's where he has trouble. But every cornerback gets beat. Ronald Darby is still relatively young, and I think if we bring him in on a 3-year, $30 million deal or a 2-year, $15 million deal, it would really be good for both sides. Something similar to Kendall Fuller's deal, where he has 4 years, $40 million. Ronald Darby can have 3 years, $30 million. That's $10 million per, or we can do 15 for 2 years. Really friendly deal that I think Washington is going to give Ronald Darby. I don't think it's going to be something outrageous that like a lot of people think. I think it's going to be something that's friendly. So yeah, man, Washington has a lot to do this offseason, and they aren't wasting no time. They're trying to find their GM, and they're trying to quickly re-sign some of their guys. They want some of these guys to even hit free agent, a guy like Ronald Darby. So we'll see. It's just day one of their interviews, and you guys know I'm going to have it covered all offseason long about the Washington football team and their GM search. I will be doing a weekly Q&A where I answer you guys' questions. The email is in the description down below. If you guys want to be featured in the video, put your question in that email, and I promise I will get to it. With that being said, it's me, boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe, help to the Washington football team. Let me know how you guys feel about the general manager position and also Ronald Darby. It's me, boy Juan Gotti. I'm out. Peace.